So what do you do as an entrepreneur when nothing is going right? You're barely making payroll. You're not bringing in the sales that you want to bring in. You're not making the money that you need to make. You can't take care of you, not alone take care of other people. And then you become depressed because you see everything going downhill. So how do you handle entrepreneurial depression? Here's the thing. I never really understood what depression was, to be honest with you. And I think a lot of us have no clue what depression really is, especially men, but I'm pretty sure this may go for women as well. I'm not a woman, obviously. I don't know for them exactly what being depressed is, but at least most women are more open. They talk more, they communicate more. They cry more, they hug more, they express their emotions more. So I think that's one outlet. Whereas men, we don't talk as much. We're not as open because it's considered to be soft. Sometimes we just don't have the luxury, to be honest with you. If you're talking amongst men and it's not about how much money you can make, it's like they don't even want to hear it. And so you go into this spiral because you're not expressing it, you're not getting any solutions. And I think another reason why people go into depression is because there's no hope, right? Imagine if you're like in a car driving at night and it's like, it's raining so freaking hard that you literally cannot see in front of you. And imagine being like that in your business where you have to pay your bills, right? You have to take care of your house. Depending on where you live, at least in America, I'm not sure about other places, but you got at least a few $1,000s to pay. So you got to make way more than what you actually need in order to at least take care of your bills at the end of the month or the end of the day. Then you have, of course, first and foremost, you got to take care of the business, right? You got to take care of your staff. You got to make sure that they're well, unless you're a solopreneur and it's just you. But if you have staff, you got to take care of your staff. And you also have to take care of your clients. That means you need to make money in order to buy product, right? If you have a digital product, that's fine. Maybe you're just reading and studying and your intellectual property is like literally in between your freaking ears. That's great business to have, but you still need the internet. You still need technology. You still need somewhere to live. You still have to eat, right? And if you're just studying all day or perfecting your craft and you're not making money, you can't do both, right? So maybe you have to have another job or something like that. So there's like all these little situations where if you're an entrepreneur with all the stress, with everything coming at you, it can be tough. And experience myself, and I talk about this frequently because it's still happening to a large extent, where I had a former business partner of mine, very close, right? We were brothers for the most part. I just didn't see it coming. I had blind spots, and we had been doing business together for years. I found out after the fact that he had been stealing from me for years. And it's almost like, imagine you with your significant other and forbid this happens to anybody. You realize that your significant other has been doing something behind your back to intentionally, maliciously hurt you, right? And I use the word intentional. It's like, was it premeditated? To me, that means, was it actually intentional? Like, did you plan and plot this out to consistently do? It was an unfortunate circumstance, right? And then you go through like an entrepreneurial depression because you have all these things coming at you. And you can't see what they say, you can't see the forest from the trees, right? You can't really make out what's what. You don't really know who to trust. But since it's business, we don't really consider it something that's personal, but it is personal. I remember watching a series called Boardwalk Empire. Really good series, right? But the guy sitting across him said something to him that he didn't take too well, but the guy said, "Hey man, don't take it personal." And the gangster said, "What do you mean don't take it personal? I'm a person, right?" And it's true. When things happen to us, you don't want to be emotional about it, but it is personal. You're a person, the other person is doing something to you, it's personal. And you have to be able to separate that, right? And sometimes when we have entrepreneurial depression, what I think some of us do is we go out, just like in our personal lives, a woman may go out and shop, or she may let herself go. She doesn't care anymore, right? A guy may go out and just drink himself to death. And so what I see entrepreneurs do is we go out and we try to alleviate our pain by spending more money, right? Let's just add more money to it instead of fixing the problem. Like this particular department needs to really tighten up. And instead of like dealing with it head on directly, we just say, let's add some more people. Let's add some cheap labor. making the situation worse. Imagine in your personal life, remember, your significant other has done something to harm you, but you still have to pay your mortgage. You still have to keep your family fed, right? You still have to make sure that the expenses for the home are taken care of, like, whether it be landscaping or making sure the cars have insurance, making sure you have life insurance, like all things that sometimes require a little bit of thinking. You can't think. Your mind is clouded because you can't see in front of you. You're like, oh my freaking God, I don't care about anything. And I think the same thing happens to entrepreneurs. When we go through all these various things, like I realized my business partner had been stealing from me. And then you start to question various things like, okay, well, how about this situation then? If he was stealing from me, then what did he do there? If he's stealing from me all this time, when we said, what was he doing then? And the more you open the curtains, the more you find. And it takes you down this freaking spiral where you think about it more. And it doesn't really necessarily help. It helps you uncover certain things that you do need to uncover. Maybe in my case, you were stealing. Now, how about the taxes on that? So you do have to uncover that. And that could affect both parties, but one party was doing the stealing. Or maybe some clients were screwed over, right? Who's involved, right? Who should really be held responsible? Should you be responsible for that? So sometimes you have to dig deeper, but it doesn't necessarily help. You're just finding information out. Some of the other signs of entrepreneurial depression would be not directly dealing with the issue, ignoring the problems, trying to maybe put more money on it instead of actually removing it sometimes. And what I mean by that is sometimes people just need to be let go, right? Sometimes you need to pick up the phone and call the police. Sometimes you need to file a lawsuit, but you got to think about all the different things that happen around that. Sometimes other people need to be held accountable who allowed it to happen. And you just have to, you deal with those consequences, but you need to sit down and kind of weigh it out. Some of the other forms of entrepreneurial depression are when we go out and we make bigger promises to make more money. And so we're not making enough money, so we go out and say, you know what, I need money right now. Let me just go out and just make any old kind of promise. And I just need the money to pay for right now, not understanding what's going to happen right behind it. I think that's a form of entrepreneurial depression because there's so much freaking pressure. And you think about, how did I get here? And who did me wrong when I sold all these products and that client charged it back, or that client did this, or this particular business venture went sour because somebody screwed me over. In a lot of cases, unfortunately, that's what happens. When you don't know the game well and you don't have people to guide you, most of the time the reason people fail is not just because they couldn't sell the product, it's because people screwed them over. And people don't like to talk about it because it's considered negative, right? It's not positive talk. I don't think it's being realistic, but it also causes people to go into a state of depression. Some people have made entrepreneurship really sexy and popular. Everybody's an entrepreneur, everybody's a CEO. But at the same time, you also hear it's not easy. And you also hear that you have to have thick skin. Why would they say that? Why do you have to have thick skin? Because of all the no's. I'll give you an example. I worked with a particular business for about 2 months, taking my time, making sure I was super ethical with them, making sure that I did the right thing in every single area. I mean, not only saving them money, which is just one small part of the equation, right? Just literally putting a ton of money back into their business, but also making sure that I gave them the best that I could on other products where we're not even making money. We just want to make sure that you're successful, like literally putting the other first, right? Like that true servant leader, being accessible, being available consistently, and even educating them where other people, where they already knew they were being taken advantage of. And I'm just saying, hey, well, here's how you determine that. Here's how you verify what you're seeing in your bank account. And we get to the point where it's time for action. The business owner told me, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the entity that's been taking advantage of me, because now today they said they're gonna do the right thing. And it's like, man, it's almost like, you've been dating this person and doing the right thing for them every single freaking day, just constantly doing the right thing by them. And then somebody else who they don't know us, somebody else says, you know what, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Just something like this, like, whoa, like what? Like, what do you mean if it's not broke? It is broke. That can cause entrepreneurial depression, right? But you already have depression because you have all these things happening, right? And so one thing happens and another happens and another happens, and it seems like the world is caving in on you, right? Which is what happens to us sometimes. One thing happens, and then we begin to take our mind and put it in a place that is not the healthiest. And we begin to focus on all the things that are not happening right. And so if you're constantly thinking about, oh my God, this person cheated on me, or my significant other cheated on me, or my business partner stole from me, or the bank did this to me. These 50-year-old men and women who I've been knowing for years are now lying to me and intentionally trying to bring harm to me just because maybe they're choosing sides, and people do that. Like, whatever the reason, it doesn't matter. And it's all these things that are happening, but if you consistently focus on it, you're going to attract more of it. So one of the solutions to resolve entrepreneurial depression is to focus on what you want to happen. I believe it was Wayne Gretzky, and the great Wayne Gretzky, they asked him, like, dude, what made you so great? What made him so great is that he focused on where he wanted the puck to go, right? That's what he focused on. He didn't focus on where it was at the present moment. Focus on where you want to go. Attract more of that. Sure, all the stuff that has happened, and it will continue to happen if you live, right? I don't care if you're an entrepreneur, a CEO, it doesn't matter. If you're not experiencing problems and pushback and strain and friction, then I don't think you're pushing yourself as hard, right? Because whenever I go to the gym and I want to get a great workout, I'm constantly pushing and straining. And it's not because I'm lifting heavy weight, because I'm just taking my time and I'm being in the moment. So I think, who is this? Some trainer said, resistance, go, slow up, slow down, right? And you can feel the burn, like it forces you to be in the moment. And I think sometimes when things are happening, instead of being in the moment and absorbing it and living it, we just try to rush through it, right? We go to the gym, we just lift weights real fast, like lift heavy really fast, right? You don't really get the same burnout, right? The same burn, you don't get the same intensity. And in business, I think the same thing happens. Where all these things are happening and you just try to blitz through it and rush through it without learning from it, because you could be the one who's doing the criminal activity or causing the harm, but you're rushing through it so fast you're not in the moment, like, oh my God, like what the frick is going on? So focus on where you want to go instead of where you are. And that has helped relieve more entrepreneurial depression, because here it is, depression really is here, right? It's in our minds. So man, thinking, so is it. I hope this helps. If you like this, hit the like button. If you have something to share that could benefit me or could benefit our audience or our community, please share them in the comments. And if you want more of this, make sure you subscribe. This is Khaazra. I'm out.